You watch the last episode. The credits roll. The screen goes dark. Your room is quiet. The kind of quiet that feels heavier than it should. You pick up your phone. You scroll through other shows. Nothing looks right. Nothing fits. You close the app, and you just sit there, staring at nothing, with this weird hollow weight in your chest, over characters who were never real. That feeling isn't you being dramatic. Your brain just lost people it was tracking as part of your actual social circle. And the reason goes back about 300,000 years. It starts with a monkey, a tone, and a glass of juice. In 1997, neuroscientist Wolfram Schultz recorded the firing of individual dopamine neurons inside a monkey's brain. The setup was simple. A tone would play. A moment later, juice would arrive. The monkey learned the pattern fast. Most people think dopamine is a pleasure chemical. You get the reward, dopamine fires, you feel good. That's the textbook version. Schultz watched what actually happened over hundreds of trials, and the textbook was wrong. At first, dopamine spiked when the juice arrived, but as the monkey learned the pattern, the spike moved. It migrated from the juice to the tone. Dopamine stopped firing for the reward itself. It fired for the prediction of the reward. The brain wasn't marking what felt good. It was marking what was about to. Then came the part that changed everything. When the tone played but the juice didn't come, dopamine didn't just return to its resting level. It dropped below it. The brain registered what Schultz called a negative prediction error, a signal that says something good was supposed to happen, and it didn't. Now, replace the monkey with you, and the juice with your show. Every episode is a prediction loop. Cliffhangers, unresolved threads, character arcs bending toward a payoff your brain can almost taste. Each one trains the dopamine system to anticipate the next hit. Over weeks or months, the brain builds a dense web of these predictions. Every autoplay countdown is another tone before the juice. When the series ends, the prediction engine doesn't wind down. It crashes. Dopamine drops below baseline, the same signal as the monkey who heard the tone and got nothing. That flat, hollow feeling after the last episode, that's a negative prediction error. Your brain is reaching for a reward that will never come. But dopamine only explains half of what you're feeling. The other half is worse, because it's not about what your brain was expecting. It's about who your brain thought it knew. Dopamine explains the crash. It doesn't explain why the emptiness feels personal, why it feels less like missing a story and more like missing a person. That's a different system. Your brain has a region that keeps track of the people closest to you, the same region that holds your sense of who you are. And that region doesn't check whether the people it's tracking are real. In 2021, neuroscientist Timothy Broom put 19 fans of Game of Thrones inside a brain scanner and asked them to rate personality traits of themselves, 9 real-life friends, and 9 fictional characters from the show. He was watching one specific part of the brain, the region that encodes your identity and your closest relationships. What he found was striking. Participants who identified strongly with fictional characters showed real overlap between how the brain represented the character and how it represented the viewer themselves. The brain was processing a fictional character in the same neural space it used for the viewer's own identity and their real friends. Same region, same patterns. Your brain didn't file these characters under entertainment. It filed them next to your best friend, next to you. When the show ends, your brain registers a gap in its social map, a space where a person used to be. But the strangest part is still coming, because the brain wasn't just tracking these characters, it was using them. In 2009, social psychologist Jay Derrick ran 4 experiments to test what she called the social surrogacy hypothesis, the idea that fictional relationships can function as real social support. She threatened participants' sense of belonging by having them write about a fight with a close friend, then measured whether thinking about a favorite TV show could buffer the emotional damage. It could. Favorite shows reduced loneliness, protected self-esteem against rejection, and quieted the brain's activation of rejection-related thoughts. Non-favorite shows did nothing. The effect was specific to shows the viewer had bonded with. Your favorite show wasn't just a show, it was a social safety net your brain built without telling you. You were using it to manage rejection, loneliness, emotional pain, and you had no idea. So when the series ends, you're not just losing a story. You're not just losing fictional friends. You're losing a coping mechanism, a source of belonging, a structure your brain was leaning on to stay emotionally stable, one you didn't know was holding you up. And you're sitting on the couch thinking, why do I feel like this? It was just a show. Here's what 300,000 years of evolution never accounted for. People who aren't real. For the entire span of human history before this one, Every face your brain's social system tracked belonged to a real person. Every bond it built could be returned. The system was designed for a world where your social group was somewhere between 30 and 150 people, all of them real, and losing any one of them was dangerous. Not inconvenient, dangerous. The emptiness you felt when someone disappeared from your group, died, left, was cast out, wasn't a flaw. It was a search signal. It forced you to scan your surroundings, reconnect, repair, or replace the bond. Because in that world, a gap in your social network could kill you. You couldn't afford to shrug it off. You couldn't afford to move on quickly. The grief wasn't the problem. The grief was the solution. And then, in what amounts to a blink on the evolutionary clock, everything changed. Serialized storytelling, on-demand streaming, 1,350 hours a year of content. That's 56 full days, engineered to trigger the exact systems that evolved to track real human bonds. The brain's social architecture is now building connections with characters written in a room, performed by strangers, and delivered through a screen. The bonding system doesn't know. It can't know. It was never designed to ask, wait, is this person real? So it does what it's always done. It bonds, it tracks, it invests. It weaves these people into the map of your social world as if they could knock on your door tomorrow. And when the show ends and the characters vanish, all of them at the same time, it fires the same signal it's been firing for 300,000 years. The signal that says, people you knew are gone. Find them. That emptiness you felt on the couch, that wasn't weakness. That wasn't you being dramatic. That was an ancient alarm going off inside a brain that doesn't know the difference between a member of your tribe who disappeared and a character whose show got canceled. The feeling was built for a world where losing someone from your group meant you might not survive the winter. Your brain doesn't know the stakes have changed. It's still protecting you. It's still scanning. It's still searching for people it bonded with, even though they were never there. You were never overreacting. Your brain was grieving, and it doesn't know how to grieve halfway. The screen goes dark. The room gets quiet, and somewhere inside you, a 300,000-year-old system starts looking for people who were never there. Your brain doesn't know they weren't real. It just knows they're gone.